Hey guys, what's going on? It's Brendan from Heartbreaker Guitars, and we are in the Heartbreaker Lounge at the back of the store where we do all our recording. And today we've got a very special treat for you guys on deck. Relish Jane Guitars. I've got my partner here, Jason from Relish Guitars, a signed artist, and Toby is also a signed artist with Big Dog Guitars, and he's gonna be sitting in here too.
He's the Heartbreaker that the company's named after, right?
That's right,
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We just did a series on the Merry and the Merry One, and now, Jason, we are going into a very different guitar.
Absolutely.
Still Swiss made to the bone, the Relish style, the Relish design, but this is the Jane, and this is the hollow body guitar, and this is something completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, now, it obviously looks different. It's got the contoured body, it's got the aluminum frame, and if you'll notice also, the entire back doesn't come off, rather just this small panel right here, which pops off with magnets as well. You can see you've got the this aluminum strip running right through the center of the body. As per usual with 2019 Relish guitars, we've got the pickup swapping, which is too cool. Now, being a semi-hollow body guitar, we've got a completely different tone, more of, you'd almost call it an acoustic tone, Jason.
You would, yeah. And the piezo that's in here, I do think benefits from the fact that it's a hollow body, giving it a little bit more of a, because the piezo that's in the Merry and the Merry One, obviously they sound more real than any other kind of emulator that you could buy. But in the Jane specifically, it's such a sweet, like, acoustic sound. You know, like it's so convincing, right down to the sort of cavernous way that it, when you go like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with a lot of emulators or with a lot of different
Right.
brands of piezo pickups that you could insert into a guitar. So it makes it a really special acoustic sound.
Yeah. By the way, we are playing through the Bogner Shiva 20th anniversary with a little bit of reverb on there, but other than that, it's pretty much guitar straight into the amp. So, Jason, why don't we jump right in and let's sample a couple of these sounds. Let's start off. Why don't you explain how the light strip works, and then show us how the piezo blending works as well, and give us some sound samples of that as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, if you've seen the Merry One or the Merry video, first go and watch one of those two, because we give a little bit more of a comprehensive breakdown of the pickup switch. But just kind of a brief rundown, they've switched out the typical analog guitar switch for this little touchscreen, which is convenient for a few different reasons. One, because it's just a finger swipe and it's really responsive. You know, you don't have to be like, oh, okay, time to go to the rhythm pickup. Oh no, it didn't slide, I have to go do it again. It's really responsive. The other big convenience is that, so let's say right now in here we've got two of the Relish buckers, so very full, warm sound. But if you wanted to thin out your tone a little bit, and if you wanted to get more of a single coil sound or something like that, then you just take your two fingers, and if we consider this the halfway point right here, then you would take one finger, put it on one side, and then put one finger and put it on the other side, and tap, and you'll see a blue light goes on, and that will split this coil. So now you've got
So the
this,
blue light tells you you're on a single coil.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
A little bit more of a kind of a telly sound almost.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that if I'm playing a song like the Edge style or something like that with a lot of delay and a lot of chucking, then I'll definitely switch over to this setting because it has that really bright kind of tinny sound. Especially if you, of course, mix in the piezo pickup a little bit, increasing your brightness. Of a more bitey, kind of trebly sound cutting through.
Right. Now with the semi-hollow body construction, you were saying the acoustic tone really shines with the piezo. Can you play the piezo just by itself and disable the humbuckers altogether?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's worth noting too that we're playing through not an acoustic amp and just an electric amp, and it still sounds quite fantastic. And again, it has that really low.
Yeah.
Which is really rare.
Yeah.
With non you know, traditional acoustic guitars.
Yeah, and I don't know that you can get an acoustic tone out of a Bogner with many other guitars.
I don't think so. I mean, I used to be much more of an acoustic player, but ever since I picked up a Relish, it's kind of become my go-to acoustic as well.
Yeah.
Just because it feels nice, and you sort of get used to the neck and playing on it, and you can explore with, you know, oh, well, I'm playing what sounds like an acoustic, but I can do things like this. You know, like what you can't do on an acoustic.
Yeah. Now, the Relish Janes are $59.99.
Yes.
A big jump from the Mary and the Mary One. And the reason is, you see the construction, it is a hollow body guitar. There's a lot more labor involved in building this instrument.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So, I mean, and if you can get a close-up of the guts of the guitar, you can see the craftsmanship. I mean, this is the Swiss watch of guitars.
Absolutely.
And it's as beautiful on the inside as it is on the outside.
And it's nice to see a guitar company specifically, really caring about presentation and sound.
Yeah.
Because they don't really try to overcompensate with either one. It's very much just like, here's our guitars, this is how they look, we care about how they look, but they also sound really good. So you have that.
Right. Now, a lot of people, Jason, who buy electric guitars, I mean, a lot of rock guys out there, you know, they're playing with some overdrive or some distortion. Is there any, does the piezo work in those overdriven positions on an amplifier?
Absolutely, yeah. If we wanted to switch over to an overdriven setting, let's put our pickup a little more than halfway and towards the bridge pickup, and we'll have that volume all the way up. And a good thing to do is, if you're going to dial in the piezo, dial it all the way up, and then dial it just a little bit back. Yeah, because it's a little bit more difficult to keep dialing it in until you have the right mix. But having it all the way on and then just pulling it back a little bit is basically all you need. So there's with the piezo. It sounds really bitey.
Was that all the way on?
That was all the way, well, almost all the way on.
Okay.
So here's all the way off. And then same thing with a little bit dialed in. And then here's with all the way dialed in. It's really subtle, which is nice, because when it's clean, you can hear sort of the tinny sound of the piezo, because it's supposed to be an acoustic sound essentially. And that may not be what you want, but when you throw the drive on there, it kind of rips away that frequency and just gives you the bite that you need for a good solo, especially for fingerstyle guys.
What do you think, for you, what's the sweet spot of the piezo when you're playing through an overdriven channel?
I think that sort of depends on, I mean, a lot of it is subjective for different guitar players, you know, what amps they like to play through. My rig typically is I'm playing through a Fender Twin, and then I get all my drive from a Tube Screamer. So that's already kind of a really warm, you know, analog sounding drive pedal. But typically what I'll do in my average settings will be, I'll split the coil, I'll split the neck pickup coil, and then I'll dial just a little bit before the midsection, like more towards the neck pickup, so I have that warm kind of, you know. And then I'll take the piezo pickup and dial just a little bit of it in there, and then I'll pull the mid boost so that it really cuts through and I don't need a whole lot of the piezo in there. And then maybe a little bit more of the piezo in there. There we go. So you can individually hear every note being played. It's very crisp and very clean. It doesn't sound like, you know, one thing all blending together, which could be what you want, but for guys like me, you know, I do a lot of soloing fingerstyle, and that requires a lot of individual, like individual note playing. You know, there's not a whole lot of dragging or things like that.
Now, what if you're using a flat pick and you're just doing some strumming stuff? Can we hear some of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now Jason, we've played this guitar through a tube amp, a traditionally rock and roll amplifier. let's hear how this thing sounds through a real acoustic amp.
Perfect. So essentially now we're going to take a look at what it'll sound like, the piezo specifically, through an acoustic amp. So there's a couple things to run down about how authentic the piezo actually is. So this whole thing, those sort of really percussive sounds, they sound just like an acoustic, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's that. And then the one big asset that I keep talking about to everybody is this. That when you do that, there's a really low end kick drum sound.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm a loop station guy. I do these really like comprehensive live loops that have like 15 different layers or something like that. So being able to do a really authentic sounding percussion track in that loop station and having a low end to really give it that solid feeling.
Yeah, it sounds like a kick drum.
Exactly, yeah. Basically trying to convince people that there is a live band around me. And this guitar is just such a huge asset in being able to do that, because not only can you do the acoustic, you can then switch over to the magnetic pickup and do your own solos, you know. So really crisp and clean, and honestly, I think that if there wasn't a video here and people were just listening to it, I think the majority of people would just automatically assume that it's a real acoustic guitar.
Yeah,
you know, because it's so convincing.
Well, that's how it sounds.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, that's a wrap on the Relish Jane Guitar, guys. These things, I mean, they're beautiful, aren't they?
Absolutely. There's a reason why they're the Relish flagship.
And made in Switzerland. Okay, guys, $59.99. Don't forget, if you purchase a Relish guitar from Heartbreaker, any Relish guitar, free set of swappable pickups. So when you receive your guitar at your doorstep, you're going to get 2 sets, the onboard Relish buckers and the complimentary set. Jason, awesome job on the demo, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Brendan and Jason, and of course, Toby the Snoozer, signing off from the Heartbreaker Lounge in Las Vegas, Nevada. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.